This is episode 78 of the Gold Squadron podcast. I'm your host, Dion Morales, and today I'm joined by Matthew Swarmbane Cary
Hey, how's it going, guys?
and by Super Luke William Hagwood.
Oh, yeah.
So today we're going to be talking about the Gold Squadron Classic, and if you don't know who Matthew Cary is, he is the Gold Squadron Classic champion, the first champion of a major second edition event. How you feeling, Matthew?
Still riding the high of winning, man.
Fantastic, fantastic. Well, we're going to get to all that today. Today's all about the Gold Squadron special, but I got some important shout outs and just things we got to hit here real quick. So some of our upcoming streams, if you're not aware, every Wednesday night, well, I have to say most Wednesday nights, I stream from our local store, Pastimes. We have our league night. We get at least 3 games, sometimes 4, starting around 5 p.m., so you can join us there. That's Central Time. It's usually not monitored. We're just playing games. There's no stat tracking, but you can at least get to see some X-Wing. We make sure all the cards are there so you can see everything. But, we're getting more games on the table, and this week I'm going to be flying 2 lists that were suggested by listeners. A little bit of a meme lists, but should be tons of fun. And, Will, we got a pretty major event coming up. What's that?
It's a small little tournament called the Coruscant Invitational.
What is that? Tell me, what is this?
It's the culmination of the Open Series, and it is at the FFG Center. It is invite only for the top 8 at the System Opens and the Hyperspace Qualifier Undefeateds. They're traveling from around the world to Minnesota, Roseville, to the FFG Game Center to battle it out with goofy lists and to be crowned, I think, the 3rd Coruscant Invitational champion.
That's right, man. I was 1 game away, Will, from being invited. I was 1 game away. Damn it. So close.
Yeah, one bank heard around the world. I remember.
Oh,
I heard it. I saw it.
it hurt so bad. For those of you, quick recap, I was playing against a local friend, Nick Tobin, and basically the game was decided on whether or not his Asajj could one bank through these rocks, and we were just looking at it for about 10 minutes, and he goes, "We know what's going to happen, right?" You're like, "Well, I know what the move is. Let's see if it fits." And it fit, and I lost. So, so that's that. Other event coming up is the Crossroads Classic number 3. That's October 13th to the 14th. Gold Squadron will also be streaming that event. Now, at the Coruscant Invitational, it's going to be a formal stream. I'll be there commentating on all the games. I actually will be joined by Devin Monkhouse from Canada, the PTL area. And that'll be tons of fun. But the Crossroads Classic will be a little bit more of an informal stream because I'm going to be playing. I like to play this game too, guys. So basically, I'll play until I get knocked out, but I won't be because I'm gonna win. I'm gonna try for sure. Alrighty, now I gotta do some shout outs. Now I usually don't do shout outs this early, but some crazy stuff happened over the weekend at the Gold Squadron Classic. So first, I want to shout out our Twitch mods, Patrick, Dutchco, Isaacar, and Pugs501, and I want to shout out our newest mod. Now, I will say that, like, I have seen this gentleman in the chat once in a while, but he took it to another level at the Gold Squadron Classic. His name, his Twitch name is Official Top Gun, and he is now the official chat hype man. Like, he just took the energy level in the chat to just like to 11. Like, he really did. Like, I was doing this giveaway thing, and he was like three more subs away to the next giveaway. Oh, we're almost there. Come on, guys, somebody do it. Like, he was all about it, and like he got me excited, and I was super pumped about it. So thank you to all of our new Twitch Prime subscribers. Now, patrons, I want to shout you guys out because there was a bunch of people who signed up for Patreon. I'm going to name your guys at the end of the show. But I had mentioned one of our upcoming goals, all right? So our next goal on Patreon, when we get 400 total patrons, is I will commit to traveling overseas and streaming an X-Wing event. So this could be the UK, Poland, Australia, Japan. I mean, I don't know. It just depends. We'll do like a voting thing or something like that. But with all of that, like once I mentioned that, and it wasn't even me who mentioned it first. It was somebody in the chat. It's like, hey, you're only X number of people away. Let's see what we can do there. We are 9 patrons away. 9 from committing to doing an overseas event. Like, I am like, it blew my mind that so many people signed up. Like, it's a lot of names. Let me scroll down. I'll tell you. I wrote down the number of names. 18 new people signed up this weekend. Blew my mind. Extremely humbled. Thank you guys so much, because it really makes a difference. And I couldn't pay for this overseas ticket without you, so thank you so much. It should be tons of fun. And yeah, we're 9 people away. So if you're thinking about it, you want to help us reach that goal, that would be awesome. Where do you think we should go, Will?
Ooh, spin the globe, and I'm gonna say it lands on
Kuwait. Sure. Yeah, we'll do. We have to do something, some type of voting or something. I don't know. We'll see who can proposition me the best. Give me your argument for Gold Squadron to come your way. Fantastic. All right. Let's talk about the Gold Squadron Classic, guys. So, the Gold Squadron Classic, if you weren't aware, was a fundraising event that we put on that had a bunch of other games. Of course, the biggest game was X-Wing, because why not, right? Like, we are the, I mean, I think we're the best game out there, but you know, who am I to say that? A lot of people are wondering, how much money did you guys raise? I have some of the numbers, because I was in charge of the pre-registration numbers, because we did it through our web store and website and things like that. And through pre-registration alone, we raised, let me scroll to the left, over $2,000. There's $2,200 and change in just pre-registration. And if I can kind of estimate, with the people who walked in that day plus food sales, that we were able to raise over $3,000 for Boy Scouts of America. Like, that's just mind-blowing and amazing. So thank you to everybody who came out. And I know that those kids are going to be really appreciative. They're going to be able to do a lot of adventuring and camping and all this stuff. And yeah, I'm excited and just really really glad to be a part of that. And thank you to everybody who was also a part of that. Let's get to the event. We had 63 players showed up. We had only 1 no-show. We gave away a ton of prizes. I mean, just like all the things. And Will and Matthew, we'll start with you as you are our guest. What was your impression of the event overall?
Oh, man, I loved it. And first thing I want to say, like, when you typically attend an X-Wing event, space is a huge thing. And here you weren't, shoulder to shoulder, cheek to cheek with who you're playing against. You had just, tons of room. And aside from the minor internet hiccup, it was just great, man. Everybody was great. Private support, like, we were getting alt-arts everywhere. Everybody walked away with something. Not just alt-arts, but, pretty much everybody got something. So it was great.
Yeah, that was the goal, right? Like, we wanted to make sure we could just really spread the prizes out as much as possible. Not only did the top 4 get templates, but we gave templates to the winner of each other secondary pod as well. We had Lando cards for the hard acrylic ones from FFG for the winners of both sets of pods. Like, we really just gave away all the swag. Yeah, like, it was fantastic. So I love absolutely just giving away stuff, and we had tons of it. Will, what'd you think, man?
I was blown away by the venue. Didn't know what to expect. And, well, of course, we were in the basement most of the time, but the upstairs hall was enormous. Bunch of games going on. I did not expect as many people. I'm glad that we had such a great turnout to the event. I got delivered rum and Coke, which was pretty cool. Didn't even have to leave the game to go get it. So that was pretty impressive. That was a first for an X-Wing event.
Yeah,
And
that was the my understanding, that actually was the scouts' idea. Like the scoutmasters, they're like, "Hey, you guys are doing this event. What if we had servers that would just bring you what you want while you're playing?"
yeah, I tried. I tried to get a drink of the first game, and they're like, "The bar's not open. It's only 11 o'clock." I'm like, "Well, I'm ready. I'm ready to start." But yeah, no, it was a great event. I liked the even though we were kind of in the basement there, as Matthew said that, yeah, well, everybody had like plenty of room, had these round tables. It was ran very smoothly, I thought. Big props to Andrea and now I want to say Andrew. His name's Michael though.
Michael.
Big props to them. They ran it super smooth. As far as getting the pairings up and getting everything rolling as smoothly as possible.
Yeah, like going in, I will say that I actually hadn't seen the venue. Like Ron said, it's going to be great. It's fine. I know that Dion, you're busy. You're not going to be able to see it, but we'll figure it out. And we had some internet issues at first, but again, the people who, the scoutmasters and everybody who work at the Moose Lodge, like I said, hey, we have internet issues, and there was like 4 or 5 people trying to help me out. We were like chasing the line, trying to see if there was issues, checking every like router box in the building, and finally we got it figured out, just barely on time. I mean, on time-ish. Like we started later, of course, because that's how these things go. But we ran a great event. Thank you to all the people at the Berwyn Moose Lodge and the adults who are part of Troop 301. And thank you to the scouts, because they also helped out. They brought food. They were ironing play mats and carrying things for us. They're asking, like, do you need anything? How can I help? And together we were able to do a great thing. And we'll talk about next year later, because I do have some small details that will spoil for that. Now, gentlemen, you guys played. I didn't, so the floor is yours. We'll talk about some game highlights. Matthew, we know that you're the champion, so we're going to save the best for last. All righty. So, Will, what were some things that happened? This was like a second edition extended format tournament. What were your impressions? What did you experience? What did you see?
So I was flying. I have the most in second edition. I have the most experience flight time with Luke so far, and I was like, well, you fly what you know, and so I brought a Luke list. It was Super Luke, 97 points with a shield upgrade, and brought Selfless Thane and Biggs, just kind of give some support. And I love Thane. I think it was actually the first time I flew Supernatural anything, and wow. Supernatural flip-flapping wings, and just like Luke's force economy, I knew it was outrageous, but like I didn't realize that I wouldn't even need the force charge for Supernatural, so that kind of blew me away. And actually, I think all of my highlights are actually from Thane. There are so many times where Thane was just flipping just the perfect card at the right moment. I was playing Nathan Oglesby, trying to chase down. He's got 2 defenders and a Lambda shuttle, and I've been chasing down, shooting proton torpedoes at just one of these defenders, and after like probably 6 rounds of combat, I have just a single damage card on it, and Thane flips it up, and it's reduced agility. Luke comes in next round with a range 1 and just takes it off the board with 4 hits. And Thane had done something similar to another Lambda, to where it had just enough health to where it would survive with its dice and reinforce, unless I spent a focus token and flipped off one of its direct hits that were hiding in its cards.
Yep.
And that was the damage to kill it. So I had hyped up Thane before, and I think that Thane with the new damage deck, that is just awful. There is not a good crit in the damage deck with him flipping up the cards. Man, it really can change the game in unexpected ways. So he was probably my sleeper ace. I was trying to hide him next to Biggs most of the time. People kind of ignored him, and I will say this: for some reason, people love still shooting at Biggs. I mean, the list I was flying was designed to like, you should probably shoot at Biggs, and it worked. So you can still get Biggs to work. He's still very much a viable option.
That's fantastic. Matthew.
Oh man, it was just highlights for me. I think actually my two favorite moments happened actually when I was flying against Brandon Prokos, which I believe is Gold Squadron.
Yep.
Family member up there, and there was a moment where he was coming in. He went for a block with his one of the TIE bombers, and Boba forwarded right past the guy, and that shut off the what are those, barrage rockets, and the re-rolls from Jonas, and that was like me holding my breath. You know, you always have those moments where you're waiting for your opponent to do the exact thing you want them to do, and he barrel rolls out of the way, and I'm like, oh, thank goodness.
Yeah,
so that was.
And even then, it was close, right?
No, it was just hair past that. Yeah. And then I would say even a little bit later in that match, there was a point where he set up a kill box, and Cary, I had set a 4 forward, and I knew I wasn't going that way. So when he set it up, and I was like, cool, I made the right move. Advanced sensors a barrel roll, and just ended up right behind everybody, range 2 of a bomber, and it felt so good when that happened. So and they're a good combo. They feel strong.
Yeah, so there's a couple things here, right? Like, so you brought a 2-ship list which is I would say it seems out of place in second edition. Like it feels very first edition, like a 2-ship list. Like
it's definitely the wrong call in my opinion.
it worked out.
Yeah, I mean, every time I came across a swarm, it was like I made the wrong decision, and just was able to work it out. The three swarms I came across, but oh man, because I would definitely say the more ships you have, with the lower action economy we have now, just the more guns with single actions, just seems the better move to make.
That's awesome. So what would you say, like, I know that there was a lot of games. Now, you got to play on stream for the first time 3 times in a row. Just worked out that way, right? So you got your stream jitters out by the final, right? Like, it's just like, it's just playing now. As somebody who, now this is a little off topic, but it's my show, so I'm going to do what I want. So as somebody who went from never playing on stream to being able to just eventually get used to it, what was that process like for you? Like knowing that everybody was watching first, second edition event, all that.
I think I was able to, weirdly enough, for like the first game, I guess it was a shorter one, so I guess I didn't have enough time to build up to, hey, everybody's watching me. The second game against Brandon, we went to time, so it was like, I don't know. It was less considering everybody's watching me, I'm going to screw up in that I'll lose, but more that I don't want to accidentally, bump a ship or try something illegal and not realize that I'm doing it. Just I like to play clean, and I don't want to accidentally do that on stream.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean mistakes happen for sure. Like I have watched now. I mean, I don't know if I've gotten 1,000 games, but at least I have watched hundreds of games and commentated on so many. You definitely played a clean game, and I will say that anybody who plays ever, again, this is a little bit tangential, but I think it's important to talk about. it's really important, I believe, to play very cleanly with your templates. We did see, and I see it all the time. There's a lot of sloppy template play, convenient sloppy template play, and I would just, and whether it's on stream or not, like a bank is only 45-degree turn. It's not 50. It's not 55. Make sure that that you're getting the wiggle room. We've talked about that. I made a whole video about it. The internet got super mad, even though it's information that had been out for a while. I'm sorry, but that's fine. The wiggle room,
Yeah.
use it. Which you and I, Matthew, we actually had a conversation about that. Use that to your heart's content, but make sure the template's flush in there. It's important.
Yeah, no, I won't name names, but I did come across an opponent during the event where it was just like I felt like there was a bit of sloppy play, and it was, I don't know if it was, I'm not going to say it was intentional. It just seemed like the person was moving super fast, and they could have just slowed themselves down, made sure everything was solid in the nubs, and yeah, I mean, just respecting your opponent by playing clean.
Agreed. Absolutely agreed. So you guys played 6 rounds. You both won your respective pods. What are some lists that you guys had to go against, Will?
I faced off against 2 Scimitars and Redline and Death Rain. So 2 Punishers, 2 Bombers, all with barrage rockets. And the Punishers were launching seismics, and they had proton bombs as well, and the Bombers had proton bombs. So a bunch of bombs, bunch of launches, and I will say I was looking at that list, so I had a little bit of knowledge about how it worked, but I hadn't seen it on the table, and wow, it is really hard to get away from trajectory seismics, especially the player. I'm bad at names. And but he was launching them into asteroid fields, so he could choose which asteroid to blow up. So it's very hard to get away from. I played what was that store championship we went to where Marcel won?
Grognard?
Grognard. I played one of the Grognard guys. He was flying 4 B wings. That was
Justin.
Justin, yeah,
Justin
I'm
Dexter.
terrible with names. I could tell you every upgrade on your list, but I can't tell you your name. But yeah, that ended up being just a slog because he had advanced sensors and was like bumping and K-turning and all the stuff, and my Luke was just like 1 forward, burn into a ship, shoot 1. So it wasn't very fancy, and it took a long time, but eventually got through them. Then played Nathan Oglesby with his 2 defenders and Lambda. That was a super slog because I only have 3 guns, and we were really hard to get decent shots on those defenders. Eventually, we got the Lambda and one of the defenders off, and Luke just healed up to 101 points and won the game. Played Al, and he had 3 Punishers.
I know. I love Al's list. I love Al's list. Oh my God.
I did not like it.
You did, you did not.
Because well, he's got all his Punishers have concussion missile, or excuse me, cluster missiles, and Redline's got proton torpedoes.
Yep.
And his Lambda's got Darth Vader. And
it's Colonel Jendon on there.
Yeah, so he can give the pilot skill to, or initiative to, Punishers their target locks, so they can boost into close range and get those clusters off. But my list wants to be in close formation, so we could do all the passing off damage shenanigans. So I had to basically fake that I was going to come like joust him in formation, and then didn't. He all target locked to Biggs, and Biggs like 1 forwarded, and Thane Luke just 4 forwarded, and got some clean shots and K turned around. And like with only 3 ships, all these lists with just a bunch of health. Like I kept saying, I was like, man, I thought ships were supposed to die in 2nd edition, but
there's more ships to kill, man. There's more ships to kill.
I was like, man, you got a lot of health for me to chew through. So it was definitely it took a long time to do that. Played let's see, I played Sam, the runner-up, with his strikers after that, and then Todd with his who we caught on stream with his Wedge, Luke, Sabine list.
Oh, Wedge, the Imperial sympathizer. I mean, oh my God, I have to mention this. Like, if you didn't watch that game live, go ahead, look it up on YouTube. Todd Grubbs is his last name, or is his name. His Wedge refused to throw hits, and it wasn't like 3 times. It was like 6 times in a row, just like focus and blanks, or just blanks, like over and over again. I will say his opponent was doing a good job, like blocking him so he wouldn't have action and stuff like that. But to not get, like, on 3 dice, like a single hit, come on, like, it just feels bad.
I think it was actually Ryan Auer in the second game.
Yes, that's what. Yes.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah, so that
it's like blank blank focus focus target lock into blank blank focus focus. It's like, oh, okay, cool.
Yeah,
those were my games. All very tense, all very exciting. Most of them came down to like the last 5 minutes, who can clear the last ship off the board to get points. And I think that's pretty standard now with the half points rule. Like, doing the calculations like up until the last moment of, have I scored 150 or have I only scored 140?
Yeah.
Because I need to know, because my ship's only worth 55.
Yep, exactly. You know, one thing, talking about points, that was pointed out today, I actually saw it on Facebook, that the X-Wing app, when they show the threshold and the points when it's half, they're actually rounding up rather than rounding down. We've been rounding down since like the beginning of half points.
I heard the Minox talking about this.
Yeah.
And it's a perception. They're giving you the rounded up number because that's how many points you have when the ship is at half health. Not how many points your opponents have scored. It's how many points you own from that ship.
Got it. Well, that's dumb. That's dumb.
Does that make sense?
I get it, but I don't like it.
No, it makes sense. They're telling you how many points your ship's worth when it's at half health.
How many points your ship is worth?
Worth to you, not your opponent.
Worth to me. Okay. That's gonna cause confusion, though. You know, people are gonna write down that number. You know, people are gonna write down that number.
That's fair. There definitely all of my timed games were like, all right, so let me see your list. Let's get out the calculators.
Bust out the calculator.
Yeah, if you you watching the stream at the last game, like, I didn't know that I had won. We had to sit there and do the math before I figured out, oh, hey, I just won the Gold Squadron Classic.
Oh, I did it. Yeah, we had this, like Johnny and I knew, right? Because we have the score as we're going on, like, oh, he won! Oh my God! If you don't know if you heard us screaming in the corner, because it happened on the it was super exciting, lots of fun. Yeah, that was great. So, what about you, Matthew? What are some highlights, some lists you had to go through? What are some moments in the games?
I'll say special shout out was to my buddy Dan Peterson, who rode along with me, had the exact same list, and I was matched up against him in the first round. And that the rolling for I guess it's not initiative now. First player was devastating to him, because when you're rolling Cary, whoever goes second with Cary, she's outmaneuvering and doing damage too. So I tabled him, and it was probably the most disappointing table I've ever had. But I'll still walk away from a win. I'm fine with that. And then second game was a guy that was running Echo with Juke, Death Rain with Proton Bombs, Ion Torps, a Barebones Duchess, if I remember, and a Barebones Ved Foslo, which Bed Foslo has a really cool ability. I think it was the old Juno Eclipse where gets to increase or decrease maneuvers, but
Yep.
um, just Duchess went down in the first round, and after that it was just mopping up, and then what was the third match? There's a guy that I played against a couple different times during the Store Champ season, Joshua Steckschulte. Man, he's got a hard last name.
Oh yeah, Joshua with his Z95s, right?
Yeah, two Z95s, Guri, Lando with L337 riding in the nose cone, and yeah, no, that one was the most brain melting game that I came across because with Lando title, I never want to stress myself, and that's part of the shtick of my list. And then when it was Guri versus Guri, that's kind of a little brain melty as well. But those two combined, Josh and I were just like constantly like looking at each other like I need a drink, man.
Well, you know,
And
before
they were there, you just had to call for somebody.
that's right. Straight. Can I? Yes, you can. Actually, before we go too far, we us assuming that everybody knows. Can you just break down what your list was for us real quick?
Okay, sure. Yeah, you have Boba Fett, who's an I-5, medium base now, tons of fun to fly. And then you have 000 as crew, Marauder title, Han Solo as the gunner that you get from Marauder title, Debris Gambit, shield upgrade, and some proton bombs to top him off. And then you have Guri just with afterburners, outmaneuver, and advanced sensors.
So, did you by any chance listen to the Minox Squadron podcast from Monday?
Don't tell the Minox, but I've never listened to their podcast.
Oh, wrecked, wrecked. D and Ryan, I'm gonna text them right now. Hold on a second. All right. Well, one of the questions that they had was they were asking about like debris gambit and how you came to that choice.
Well, actually, one of I want to say like our coach, if you want to say, a guy named Mark Myers. He was flying Boba Fett, and he switched to Debris Gambit, and just watching it, I was like, man, that is so much better than Predator because I get fearlessness,
Mm-hmm.
fearlessness to proc maybe once or twice a game. If it had the same rear arc stipulation from the last one, I could get it a lot more. But there were so many times, like not so much in the top the top 3 games, but
Mm-hmm.
Throughout the beginning, where I was always near a rock and I was always taking that evade, and then I would Han for a focus. And I understand that if you have like the escape pod coordinating to you,
Mm-hmm.
that's a really cool trick where you can get the reinforce off of that and then clear with a green maneuver and then token stack that way.
Yeah.
But as I was only running 2, it was the better choice to make.
Yeah, and that's one thing in the 3 games that I did watch, you never took a reinforce action even once, and I'm not gonna say that you're wrong because you won the thing, but there was at least one time where I was like, man, I really think the reinforce is better here, and you took the evade.
Math.
Yeah, I
I believe if what you're talking about is the 3 bombers and I was in range 1. If I could get the evade and I have a focus, and then he also gave me the calculate with 000, so that was even better. I think with my rerolls, math-wise, I come out the same on average.
without a
I could
stress,
be
right?
complete.
Or
Yeah,
with only one.
well, I'm gonna stress for Han Gunner.
Not
So
true.
and that's another thing. If I reinforce, I can't Han Gunner. So that's the reasoning behind that. But yeah, and I could be completely off with the math, but what do I know? I just won. So
It worked. It worked out at the very least. Go ahead, Will.
My biggest question is in the bid. You definitely have room to put more upgrades. What is the strategy with the 13-point bid?
Because in St. Louis right now, we're kind of crazy. It's like if you come across an Inquisitor that has supernatural reflexes and a bid, I I almost feel like you lose because he's really good. I really love that ship. Being able to boost or barrel roll and then do your maneuver, you can be anywhere. It's like a defender with advanced sensors. Uh, so I would say I'm definitely in the deep end, but 8 or 9 is not unheard of. I think Tyler Tippett actually came to the classic with a 10-point bid.
He did.
So
Mhm.
if I had encountered him, I would have felt confirmed in my choice.
Yeah, it was just
Well,
definitely
it does
aggressive.
it does increase if you end up with just like a half Guri, you
Yeah,
still have quite a bit of points on the board. Something
yeah,
like, well, yeah, your Guri's 84, so that's 42 plus 13
yeah,
is still a huge chunk of your
yeah,
list still sitting on the board.
yeah. If I had had more upgrades on her, I potentially could have lost the last match on points. So having that, like, I guess the only thing I can compare it to is Kylo Whisper from first edition, where you just had an insane bid and it was just a buffer.
Yeah,
You know?
and even if you had more points on even Boba Fett, if he was more expensive, right? Because I think you still have a couple of slots open there, right? If you had
Yeah,
more stuff on there, as soon as Sam gets you to half, in that situation, even if you trade the ships there, you lose the game,
yeah,
right?
yeah.
It's
No,
it really came it definitely worked out. The
yeah,
13 points, it was very strong.
yeah. No, it worked out, and I mean, I mean, I could load them down more, but I'm not sure there's much more I would want to use. Maybe cluster missiles because Boba likes to be at range 1, and with all the rerolls, that would be kind of fun. But that's a strong maybe.
All right, all right. Well, it worked out. What are some other lists you had to maybe? What was your maybe besides the final? What was your hardest match?
Um, man, I'd say Brandon. I mean, I just didn't know how well that was going to turn out because just all those mods with
Jonas.
with Jonas, yeah, I was fortunate that I could break up that swarm super quick with the proton bomb and get them to scatter so they're nowhere near each other and then take out Jonas and just kind of whittle things down from there. But even when they were separate, I I really needed to fly just to stay alive because I think he almost beat me as well. So I mean, it came down to I think the last turn on that one as well. I could be wrong, but
Yeah, I just did a quick preview of it, did a little research, and yeah, I believe it was his last shot put your Boba to 1 health, which could have won him the game,
yeah,
but it didn't.
yeah,
I think you ended up getting at least one evade, which saved Boba.
yeah. And just a small comment about shield upgrade. Like just giving Boba that shield upgrade ups his half points
Mm-hmm.
just a hair to where like it mattered several times throughout the tournament that he had half points.
Oh yeah, like that was something we were commenting on the stream. It's like, hey, he's not at half points yet. He still has that shield because people were asking like, wait, shouldn't he be at half already? And like, no, he's got that shield upgrade. And like you said, there's at least one time where you were just on the edge of the threshold, on the edge, but you didn't give it up. So that really worked out, and that's something that people were asking quite a bit on. You see them on forums and on Facebook, asking like, is that going to be commonplace? Where if you have the opportunity to add a hull or shield upgrade in order to raise that threshold, should you do it? And I mean, it works on Boba
I
Fett at least.
Yeah,
I did it with Luke. I ended up going shield instead of auto thrust, or shield instead of afterburners on Luke, so that I was at an odd number at 7 health, so that you had to stick 4 damage onto him.
Hmm.
So same
did you
same thing.
did you have a R2 or R2D2 on him?
Yeah, I had R2D2. It was
Yeah,
a 10 health Luke.
yeah. So that just that ups it even farther. So yeah, that makes total sense for a shield upgrade for him.
That's very, very good. So, after playing through these 6 games, gentlemen, you guys saw a lot of lists around you, a lot of people playing. What are some of the positive things that are different from first edition that you experience during the game?
I'll start that. Something that started to bother me, I was abusing it in first edition, but it definitely had bothered me throughout this whole last season, which is basically magic dice that you could just set down results. And nope, you have to roll everything now. And as you guys were talking about that wedge, you could just blank out. You might not just have, like, you can have the modifiers and just hit triple blanks and just be real sad, especially on defense. Defensive modifiers for blanks specifically are very hard to come by. And I think that is appropriate. It really puts it back into a dice game and less a upgrade game.
Matthew?
Yeah, no, I totally agree that guidance ships was made for back when you couldn't spend target lock on a munition, and then when harpoons came along, it just meant that you were getting 4 hits no matter what. It was a bit absurd. So to not, to be able to walk away from that, like I had a fully modded ion torp shot at Boba, and I took 1 damage off of it. Well, I mean, you only take 1 damage, but only 1 uncanceled hit. So, it was like, okay, it's not a magic missile flying at me,
Yeah, see, when I started the game, when I started X-Wing, I kind of looked at the dice and the ships like your job was to put yourself in the best situation possible. And at least the thematic part of the game, which I know some people have mixed feelings about whether the game should be thematic or more like a card game with guarantees, X, Y, Z, but whatever. You put yourself in the best position, and then you see what happens. Because if you're in a starfighter and you fire your lasers, you don't know what that enemy ship is going to do, right? And that's where the dice come in, whether you were accurate with your shot or whether they were able to shimmy out the way. It adds a little bit more excitement and more pressure on you as a player to make sure that you try to maximize what you can, like control the things you can, and put yourself in the best situation so that the things that you can't screw you over less.
Yeah. Another thing I'd say is I feel like there's a lot more choice in the game. Like without perfect knowledge bombs, you get to choose whether you're going to take that bomb. You know that this person has bombs. So like Brandon, he knew that I was going to drop a proton on my backside, so he planned that in his maneuvers. And then when I did it, he was like, okay, well, now I'm going to barrel roll out of the way. I'm not going to take this. And it's not like, he moves all his guys and then I drop my bomb and then he has to deal with that. And then choice, like stress-wise, most of the time, yeah, I think almost 100% of the time, with the exception of Forlom, you get to choose whether you're stressed or not. It's you forcing yourself to be stressed through a linked action, or 000's like calculate or stress, and then Asajj is stress or remove the token. There's more agency.
Let me ask you, Matthew, how many times did people take the stress?
2, maybe 3 times.
And in those situations, were you about to kill that ship anyways? Was that why they took the stress?
Often that was the case. I think the only time where I think that wasn't the case was Sabine took it, and it was I thought it was the wrong choice because I got to she couldn't K-turn. She was already behind me, and then she couldn't K-turn to get back into the fight. So yeah, I think that was the one time, and that it was because like there was a Z95 from Josh's list that he had 1 hole and Guri hounding him, so he was just like, yeah, I'm taking a stress, you're not getting a calculate.
Yeah, I don't want you to have this. My toy, not yours.
Yeah.
Yeah, in that game, it really made a big difference for your opponent. I'm missing his name. I know it was the one on stream, but when he stressed
with Sabine?
Yeah, the one with Sabine.
That's Todd.
Todd Grubbs.
Todd. Okay, that was Todd Grubbs. Once Sabine couldn't turn around and he couldn't keep the pressure with all 3 ships onto your Boba Fett and Guri, that's where he lost the game. Right there.
Yeah, that and Luke got put in a pretty kill box and
Yeah. Yep. It happened.
ate it.
Alrighty. So we're gonna hit stats here in a second. Before we do that, though, if you are watching live and you have any questions for Matthew, we can go ahead and put those in the chat, and we'll address them now. The first question that came up, gentlemen, here is, what did you eat while you played?
Well, I had a cheeseburger, and it was $2.50, and like it was better than a $2.50 burger, so I'll take that. That was pretty much it, and I didn't eat for the rest of the day. I think I would have been too nervous to stomach anything anyway.
Were you drinking? You had a drink of choice?
No, I have to keep a clear head.
Will performs better.
Yeah,
the more PBR, the better, baby.
Yeah, it calms me. I need to chain smoke cigarettes and have a beer while I'm playing. That it really calms me, puts me in the right mood.
X-Wing, baby. We're not condoning smoking on this show, okay?
No, don't smoke. It's a bad habit.
It's
don't
a bad
do it.
habit. What about you, Will?
What was I drinking?
You're drinking, you eat. What happened?
Oh, I was drinking rum and cokes, and I had a brat. It was the last brat, and they told me the guy gave me like it's the last one. I was like, well, I'm not gonna eat. I think he offered me a salad. I'm like, dude, a salad's not gonna help me out right now. I'm gonna need a brat. No, that was pretty good. And then, yeah, my rum and cokes were a little strong, so I had to switch to a beer in the last game or two.
Rum and coke. They weren't being chintzy with the liquor. You know what I'm saying? Like it was a good event.
No,
you left.
No, they're being chintzy with the coke. That was my problem.
Yeah, you heard an audible cry go out when they closed the bar for the day.
Yeah, like no, boo! It was great. Alrighty, that question was from Jacob Lore. He has another question. We'll circle back on here. This one's from Montana Robcat. He says, of all the scum ships to fly, what was it that made you choose the Fire Spray with Boba Fett and the Star Viper with Guri?
Well, once I got the core set, I started flying Boba because a lot of people had told me, oh, the ship's fun to fly, the one hard, and I had never flown the Fire Spray in first edition. So this was an entirely new experience to me, just completely, and fell in love with it in the week and a half that we had.
Yeah.
And just had a ton of fun flying that. And then Guri, again, my buddy Dan that came up with me, he had been flying Thweek forever, and then he switched to Guri in this edition, and she was a menace. So I tried that out. I tried one game with it before I came to the Classic. I lost it, but I loved it so much that I was like, even if I lose, I'm playing this because I'm having so much fun with these ships.
And it worked out.
Yeah.
So next one is from Jackal1370. Since a 2-ship scum list won the Gold Squadron Classic, what would be an effective 2-ship list in Rebels? Any ideas, gentlemen?
I would say Luke Han seems really good on paper.
Yeah, now that Han can use his ability defensively, that's pretty solid.
Yeah, Boba proved that rerolls are great, so.
Yeah, I think I think Luke, maybe Corran is like the 2 premier aces that you can get away with in second edition for Rebels, but you're gonna have to mix them with a pretty defensive tank to keep a 2-ship list. Maybe Dash is in the running, but he's actually a lot more expensive than Han. So, so maybe one of those two. I think I saw someone flying a Dash Jake. because Jake could boost barrel roll and actually give Dash a focus.
So like a pseudo Ray.
Kind of, yeah. That was pretty interesting. I don't know how he did. I didn't follow him throughout the tournament. But I think there's possibilities in a 2-ship list. I think you could max out Corrin and Luke and just run that as a 2-ship list. But I don't know if that's the best method.
Yeah, if I'm going to throw my hat in on any, it would definitely be Luke. Luke is such a beautiful ship. I mean, that force regen is
He's
wonderful.
the only ship with a defensive modifier on every roll.
Every single one.
Yeah.
So
that's
good.
pretty good. Just that in itself.
Yeah, so if you get any paint, you're good with him. And then you'd have to pair him with either a tricked out Corrin, or I found that Nora in the Arc, like I first encountered her in the Y-Wing, and that's mostly where I've been finding her, but her in the Arc, give her an R2 and Gonk, and just regen for days.
Yeah, I mean, Nora's very good. Her ability is just great. Like, here's an evade. Let's go.
It's like Conquer Dawn on steroids.
I don't know. Now that I have a Lando card, I'm going to try to Lando Luke. Because that seems pretty cool.
Yeah.
They're both I5, handing out actions from almost across the board. Jeez.
Yeah, I flew Lando Wedge at our first store champ like 2 days after, or not store champ, just store crit tournament or whatever it's called.
Mm-hmm.
And Lando with Gonk, he just constantly took damage and didn't care because he could double Gonk, regen a shield each turn, and then run away. And then Wedge hurts people with proton rockets.
Yeah, he does. All right, so the last question here, we'll go ahead and field. It's a little bit of a sticky question, but we won't avoid it, because if we avoid it, then people are going to say we're avoiding it. So we'll just go ahead and tackle it. So question here comes from Jacob Lore again, and his question is, how are you not more angry about sloppy play? Now, I'm going to give my opinion first, okay? Jacob, I know exactly what you're referencing. And here's the thing. I have watched a lot of games, okay? And I will tell you that what I saw on Saturday was not the worst I've seen. I will tell you that. Players were warned, and they were told, try to keep it as clean as possible. And essentially, when you're playing a game, and I want to lead this into how can we take this information and use it, because that, harping on the past doesn't help us at all. Let's talk about the future. If you're in a game and you notice that your opponent is being what you would consider excessively sloppy and it's affecting the game state, you need to call the judge right away. What shouldn't be happening is if this person has been being very sloppy with their maneuvers and the entire day, and the final round 5, round 4 opponent is the first one to mention it, but it was happening around 3, 2, and 1. The first question that comes into the judge's mind is, why hasn't somebody said this, said it before? Not necessarily that the person's lying, but just like, I want you guys to feel empowered. That if there's something happening on the table that you don't think is right, say something. I know that a lot of people don't like confrontation. I totally get it. But we have to keep the integrity of the game and how you play it. That's number one. So if you feel that somebody's not playing correctly, or if they're playing sloppily, you just you have to take it into your own hands, whether that be calling a judge or sometimes it even happens in local play and small groups, and sometimes you kind of have to choose to say, hey, you know what, you have to self-police and say, hey, if you're gonna play like this, we're not gonna play with you. And I know that sounds really childish, like we're not gonna play with you anymore, but if somebody's doing things that aren't right, you got to police them in your group. Like, you have to. So that's my 2 cents on it. I don't know if you guys want to add anything there.
I'll keep mine pretty quick, and it's simply that and this is more for maybe newer competitive players, because I can take this from like personal experience. When I started playing in tournaments, I was maybe embarrassed to call a judge over on my opponent. Like it was like a feels bad, like I don't want to get this dude in trouble kind of situation.
Mm-hmm.
I have lost that now to where the moment something's like, well, we're simply just not going to agree on this. I'm going to call a judge over, and he can tell us what is the appropriate course of action. And that I think that's something that newer players, even like experienced players, who haven't taken advantage of that, they need to start doing it. The moment something's weird, the moment something you and your opponent can't agree on something, or as you were saying, like if they're playing sloppy, just call a judge over and be like, I'm like, I want to tell you this, and I want to say it in front of a judge. You're playing sloppy, and I need you, I need you to clean up your game so that it is a regular game of X-Wing. You don't have to be mean or anything, but just call the judge over. Like I said, that would be my main thing is don't be afraid to raise your hand and call a judge. Most opponents will not be mad that you call the judge over. They're the mediator. I think that's the right word.
Yep.
Between the two players, and they're much more helpful than you can assume. Like I do that all the time. Like instead of me and my opponent trying to figure out, it happens on bumps some of the times.
Yeah.
I'm just like, if one of us starts trying to move this, we're gonna start moving a bunch of things. So I'm just gonna call a judge over. They can do the move, and whatever happens, that's what happened. And that can solve a lot of issues in your games with more sloppy players.
Yep.
If you're like in that situation to where like, well, yeah, this depends on if they get arc or not. Just simply before they do it, just call a judge over and have the judge do it. Your opponent can't really complain about you asking the judge to do it because it's perfectly legal, and within your, I guess, tournament rules, you're allowed to do that.
Yep.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Matthew, any comments on that?
I'm gonna have to like kind of work off of what William said. There was like I'm one of the people that you're talking about that I guess first of all I just don't come across too many people that play very sloppy, so this was a new experience to me. Most people are like, hey, templates are straight in the nubs. They clean up their tokens. They clean up everything. The clean board state. So it was a new experience for me. And then, again, like you said, I just, haven't encountered it. So I didn't, think that I should call the judge and have him come over and mediate the situation. And to Jacob's question, like directly, why am I not more enraged by it? I'm going to say because I won. Just you forget about a lot of things. I don't want to say forget, but it's like that just slid off my back because I was so elated at the time,
Yep.
But I was definitely getting tilted during the match when this was happening.
But it all worked out, right?
Yeah.
It all worked out. So we'll move past that. Again, I told you guys it was going to be a little bit of a sticky question. We covered it. We talked about it. We'll move on. I want to talk about some of the stats when it comes to the Gold Squadron Classic. I know that we currently don't have any type of second edition list juggler, but no worries. We're going to do the best that we can. Now, I don't know anything about software.
Juggler.
Dion juggler. That's right. So I am going to make all of the stats and information about the list available to the public. It's going to be in the links of this video if you're watching live, or in the links of the podcast notes if you're listening at home on your phone or wherever you listen to podcasts. That'll be available there. And if you can't find it there, shoot me an email or a message via Facebook or through our email, and we'll get it to you. I'll put it on the post. Like, I'm going to make it readily available. I'm going to post it on Reddit, all these places you guys can take a look. But let's talk about some of these numbers because I find them really interesting. Now, Will and Matthew, I don't want you guys to cheat, so I'm going to turn off screen sharing so you guys can't see my screen, okay? Because we're going to play some games here because it's more fun that way. Okay. So, we'll start by talking about faction breakdown. The most popular faction was the Empire, followed by Rebels, and closely followed up by Scum. 39% of lists were Empire, 31% of Rebel, and 30% of Scum. Now, even though Empire was 39%, that's still pretty close, right? It's still within.
That's surprisingly even.
Yeah, exactly. Correct. And you know, we did do some over-unders on the last show, and this was done in conjunction with our friends, the Carolina Crates. I know, how can Gold Squadron and Carolina Crates be friends? It's a weird relationship. I don't even understand it, but we make it work.
It's because we're all nice people and at heart.
That's correct, right? Guys, here's a secret. They're actually all big teddy bears. Like, in person, they're all they use all their big curse words, and they're all like, screw the listener. They're
entertainers.
Oh my God, they are the biggest softies you guys have ever met. Oh my God. Anyway, they're probably gonna give me crap about this, but I don't care. So we'll continue. So I had set the number at 40%. I felt like a god. Okay, I was like 40% over under, and yeah, it was just barely under. So that was cool. The other number I had set was number of TIE swarms. A lot of people wanted to know how many TIE swarms there were going to be. I had set the number at 6.5. I was like 6.5. That seems really good. There was one. One TIE swarm.
One full swarm.
One full TIE swarm, where there was five or more TIE fighters. There was only one. So massive under. Okay, good value on that bet. I had set here number of Luke gunners that were going to be at the GSC, and there I had set the number at 1.5, and there were 0. Nobody brought the Luke gunner card. Nobody wanted to play a real turret, as some people would say. Average game length, I don't know, this is not necessarily in our stat sheet, but I did do the counting between the last 3 stream games and just kind of observing the other games. I had set the number at 55 minutes. The average game length was 66 minutes. So over on that one. Then we talked about triple X-Wing squads. We labeled them trench run squads, essentially anybody who brought 3 X-Wings. And there was only one, and his name was William Hagewood.
I brought it. It wasn't trench run. Thing's better than wedge.
Right, I know. But that's we just called it like triple X, you know? XXX. That was Will. There was a bunch of double X-Wing squads, but no triple. Will was the only one who brought that.
People aren't respecting that bigs. You gotta respect the bigs.
Was
I the only bigs player?
I could figure that out here in a second. I'll take a look. Next one here was advanced sensors defenders. I set the number at 3.5. Nobody brought an advanced sensor defender.
No, you lose out on full throttle, man.
But if you could advance sensors out of ARC, then
I know.
Whatever.
I know. Advanced sensor boost 4K is real good, but you could just 4K and better, I guess.
I had set the number there, like I said, 3.5. Nobody brought it. And then the next one was I had put for Darth Vader Pilot. For Darth Vader Pilot, I had set the number at 11.5. I didn't set this number very well, but it was under. It was 5. Now, if we had been Darth Vader Pilot and Crew, it would have been under still, but just barely. It was 11 if we do that. I had set the number for number of squads that had a jump master in it at 0.5. Would there even be one? And there was none. Under 0. And the the funny haha one. I said number of shout-outs the Minox would give the Gold Squadron Classic before the Gold Squadron Classic at 0.5, and it was over. Yes, they did. Ryan wrote me a song. Guys, if you haven't listened to it, please go listen to it. It was fantastic. So and what I did is if you enjoy the Carolina Crates podcasts, you know, we talked about this actually. I was recording with them yesterday. The Venn diagram of like Gold Squadron listeners and like Crate listeners, I'm curious to know where that overlap is, because I don't think it's very much. There's definitely some, for sure, people who listen to everything. But anyway, I took all their scores and compared it to Will's, because Will was the only one who actually did the over-under. And Will, you wrecked them. Okay? You scored a total of 6 points, and 5 was the highest on their side. So
yeah, I know I missed. I called more than 40% Empire,
Yep.
which I didn't expect as much scum, to be honest with you, but that makes sense. And then I called that there would be one Dengar. I thought Marcel was gonna do it, but
Yep.
he didn't.
I was really hoping he would be the hero that would bring him.
No,
Zero Jump Masters.
the Millennium Falcon's a better jump master, hands down.
Oh yeah.
It really is. I wrote an article about that last week sometime.
Yep, absolutely it is. So next, now this is not part of the over-under, but just some like quick hit stats here. What do you guys think? I want you guys to take a guess. What do you think was the most popular ship played?
Oh,
Wait, like ship, not pilot, right?
Not pilot,
Just ship.
ship chassis.
X-wing.
yeah, I want to say X-wing as well.
Correct. There were 32 X-wings in the field. 32. Followed closely by Z95s and Y-wings, and then TIE interceptors.
Are you counting per list? Because Tommy brought 7 of them.
Oh, I know. I just said this number was simply ships on tables. Okay.
Oh, okay.
It's just
Well,
ships on tables. Okay. Now, the next, I did do like total number of pilots, but that's not really the one that really I want to focus on. I want to focus on number of lists with X pilots. So this is where, like, if somebody brought like 6 Z95s, it counts as 1, right? If they brought like 1 Binyari pilot. So I have the top 5 pilots in people's lists. I have them here. I got a whole list. I ranked them all, and I want the people in the chat, you on YouTube at home, go ahead, pause the video and see if you could guess the top 5 pilots that were used. Will and Matthew, I'll give you a second to think about it, to ponder this. People in the chat, go ahead and type away. What do you guys think? And I'll give you some time. Maybe I'm not gonna put a timer up. I didn't have that ready. I was like, oh, maybe I could put it. No, I don't have that ready. I'm sorry about that. Okay. Any volunteers to go first?
Yeah, I think I can name off 5.
Okay.
I'm gonna go in order of most, so descending, I guess.
Okay.
I'm gonna go Luke.
Okay, hold on. Let me grab a pen. Ready. Okay.
Luke.
Okay.
Boba. Fenrau. Cary. And I'm going to throw in Lieutenant Sai as my 5th one. Is that 5?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm going to go with Sai as the last one. I think yeah, I'm going to go with Sai.
Okay.
In the Lambda shuttle.
Matthew.
Mine are in really no particular order, but I'm going to go definitely with Luke. I'm going to throw Death Rain in there. I remember seeing a lot of Punishers around. Banana Pirate, Binary Pirate, and then Wedge. And I'll throw Boba in as well.
Okay. So if you're at home watching and you don't want to be spoiled yet, if you're making your list, pause it now. Here we go. So top 5, starting from the top, going down. We had 8 lists with the championship Boba Fett.
Ah,
We had 7 lists with the championship Cary.
oh,
We also had 7 lists with Luke Skywalker himself. We then had 6 lists that had Fen Rao and 6 lists that had Wedge Antilles. Those were your top 5 pilots used at the Gold Squadron Classic. There was a myriad of pilots that were used only once. Lots of generics and uniques. You guys can look at this document and see how we had it, shaken out.
It sounds like there wasn't a consensus about what to fly for Imperials then.
Well, so just under that at 5 was Colonel Jendon. At 5 was Darth Vader. And also at 5, there was 5 different lists with the Jakku Gunrunner.
Oh, tugboats.
Yeah.
Tugboats are good.
Toot toot. So, again, take a look at this list. There's lots of interesting information. You guys can extrapolate lots of things. Some data maybe for your guys' next tournament. See how things are going here. Now, let's talk about upgrade cards because we also broke down upgrade cards. By the way, this document was put together by Johnny Randazzo, my co-host for the Gold Squadron Classic. He's a chemist. Okay, that's his thing. And he put this in a much more organized fashion than I would and much faster than I would, like in between rounds while I was getting stuff set up and talking to players and getting things ready to go. He was typing away so we would have this for the show. So thank you so much, Johnny. You're awesome.
I got a quick question about Johnny. I only see Johnny commentating. What does he fly?
Johnny really likes Scum. He really likes Scum. And you know what? He's a sleeper player, man. Like, if he just took more time to practice and play, I'd be scared of Johnny.
I mean, his wealth of information is very knowledgeable. Like, he sounds very smart. Like, he knows what he's talking about.
Oh yeah. I've had my keister handed to me a couple times by Johnny. We've traded some shots, but he's very good, very good. All right, let's talk about top 5 upgrades. Let's see, is that gonna make sense? I guess we'll call it 7. We'll call it 7 because there's a tie at that 5th spot.
Okay. Are you doing the same counter?
Yeah. So we'll wait a little bit. You might need to jot some things down. I'll need another piece of paper to write down your answers. Okay. So top 7-ish. You could list down 5, and we'll go down to 7 because there's a tie there. What do you guys think are the top upgrades? I will tell you that there were a total of 101 different upgrades used. I'll tell you that. Used by 97 different pilots. I will tell you that. What is that? About, just quick rounding here, about 50 cards were only used one time. All right, here we go.
All right, I got some guesses. Most of these are using context clues.
Of course, context clues. Here we go.
Probably S-foils. You said that there was a bunch of X-wings.
Yeah, that one's super obvious. 24 copies of S-foils.
I would assume at least 5 fire controls. I would assume every TIE Advanced had fire control, so I'd put that up there.
Okay.
Proton torpedo. Marauder title. And then Han Gunner, I guess, because they're kind of attached to each other. I don't know if I have another guess for 000 maybe.
You stole that answer from me too.
I'm just stealing every. It's just like those are just all the best upgrades.
All right, Matthew, you got any additional ones or anything you want to swap out there from what Will said?
No, he said proton torpedoes, which was definitely up there. Servo motors, and then all the things that go on Boba. I mean, staple it on Han Gunner, 000 can go on multiples and Marauder title. So yeah, I'm with them.
Okay, so starting from the top. Okay, there is a couple surprises in here. So at the top was Servo Motor S. So my goodness, Servo Motor S foils. There were 24 copies, mind you. There were 32 X-wings and only 24 S foils. Some people just didn't want them. They just didn't want them. They're just like, don't want it, don't need it. No S foils, baby.
I definitely turned in my list and was like, there's definitely another upgrade on Luke. Or I was like, wait, all of my X-Wings are missing upgrades.
That was at first place. Tied for second and third, we had Fire Control System and Shield Upgrade. There were 17 copies used there. Then tied for fourth, fifth, sixth, and seventh. So these are going to be our last four mentioned here. We had R4 Astromech, which went on the X-Wings, right? Which went on a lot of the X-Wings. We had Proton Torpedoes, which both of you mentioned. We had 16 copies of Proton Bombs. And this was probably the most surprising. 16 copies of Marksmanship.
Really?
Yeah. 16 copies of Marksmanship.
I mean, it does only cost 1 point. So.
Yeah, it's 1 point, and crits hurt a lot more.
Ooh, crits are bad.
Right.
But I'd almost think crack shot, you know? But, to each their own.
Exactly. I mean, this is the first time we have tournament data, and it's a significant pool. We had a lot of players playing, and it was just really interesting to take this information apart and see what people were thinking when they were building lists. Again, this information is going to be open and free information, nothing hidden from here. I'm not going to hoard it for myself or for my team or anything like that. This is for you guys. So tons of fun there. So anything else you guys want to talk about the Gold Squadron Classic before we hit a couple other things here?
Do you, by chance, have average bid?
You know, I don't, but I could figure that out.
I know somebody that might have skewed the numbers just a little. I don't know who that would be.
We could find like the median and the mean and all.
Well,
that,
yeah, I was maybe not average bid, but like what you did, like top bids, like who was how many, like were there like 10 people taking 5-point bids and 9 people taking 11-point bids?
That's great information. I literally have here. Those of you who are watching the video, I have all the lists right here, so I can look at that and calculate that. Not now, but I can put it in there. So we'll find out.
That would be pretty interesting if you could. I think the real defining factor on that would be what bid at what initiative. I think would be more impactful.
Yeah.
So probably what I'll do is just I'll put the point cost next to each of the lists, and then you can infer, from what you see there, extrapolate. So I do want to talk about some things for next year. Okay. We definitely have some kinks that we're going to have to work out for the Gold Squadron Classic, and this is mostly internal things. Nothing that you guys really saw. Some things that we're going to work out. We had a bunch of printer issues while we were there. Like we went through like 4 different printers, but we ended up figuring it out. But next year we're going to do it again, and most likely we're going to end up turning it into a 2-day event. Whether X-Wing will be 2 days or not, we're not entirely sure. Maybe we'll run 2 different events. Like there's a lot of things up in the air, but the Berwyn Moose Lodge and the Boy Scouts of America Troop 301, like when we were finished, they were just really impressed at how we ran everything. And that same day, they were like, let's start planning for next year. Like they want us back. They know that we did good by them. We respected their space. Thank you, X-Wing players, for like cleaning up after yourself and things like that. That's awesome. And they want us back. So that should be super awesome. And hopefully we can open it up to even more people.
I think a 2-day event would be really good for people who do play multiple games. X-Wing, you definitely could just do it like a 2-day tournament. But some of the other games like Legion and Imperial Assault, there's a lot of people who play multiples of those. So that would really get people and to be able to come out and play two different games. I know a lot of the people I talked to were, um, what do I want to say? Maybe upset. Maybe that's not the right word, but they wanted to play more than one game, and
Right.
we're a little bummed that they could only get one kind of game in at the event.
Exactly.
So
So like this was essentially our inaugural Gold Con, right? That's essentially what it's going to end up turning into.
it was a pretty cool Gold Con, to be
Yeah.
honest with you.
So probably like here's a couple of ideas. Nothing set in stone. A couple of ideas I got rolling in my head is um if we can maybe so we can still have an X-Wing 2-day event, but like the cut would be day 2 and everybody who didn't make the cut day 2 can play Legion or Destiny or whatever any other games that they want. We can make that the day 2 and we'll have some of course other things corresponding with the X-Wing, but let's be honest, right? X-Wing's the biggest game. We're going to figure out X-Wing first and build around it. So yeah, I'm super excited about that. So
Before you move on,
yes.
I gotta ask you, what did you hear anything about the RPG?
Yeah, so the RPG, I'll be honest, it got advertised really late. The first session got sold out. They had a great time. That one-shot RPG, I know there was a lot of people who were like, Dion, if you know Nami, he was really upset with me that I didn't make a bigger deal about this. It was super last minute. Keith Capel was like, "Hey, I want to run one-shot RPGs for you guys," and we're like, "Oh crap! Okay, what time? When do you want to do this?" So, it went fantastic. The players had a great time, and then in the afternoon, which this was super awesome, he actually ran a one-shot RPG with the Boy Scouts.
Oh, that's cute.
Yeah, like that was great. Like it was super fun, and I look
Get it.
forward to growing that, and I'm sure people are going to want to do some more of that stuff.
You got to get them hooked to young. Get them
That's
on them games.
that's right. That's right.
Get them off of those TV screens and on the tabletops.
Yeah.
That's right. Play games. Talk to people. It helps. Which all of you guys, that's why you're here. Like you know that, right? So Lord Vader asks, "What have you done with those plans?" He chokes somebody out, and we're gonna tell like Vader, relax. I'll tell you the plans. All right, my friend. So we talked about it already. The Crossroads Classic, number 3 at Family Time Games. That's going to be October 13th and 14th. Make sure you sign up. That's in Indiana. It's a 2-day event with side events. And if you don't make the cut, they've done this like different format tournament the second day every time. People love it. And Gold Squadron will be there. We'll be streaming. We'll be live. Registration is open. Go to Family Time Games, their website. You can just type it into Google. You'll find it. And the first thing in their web store is the registration for that. Let's go ahead. Let's get them sold out. Let's make sure they have an awesome event. And of course, we'll be collecting data from that tournament. It's going to be super fun. And we'll do over-unders for that event as well. It'll be great. Then we have the Minot Open coming November 3rd and 4th. Registration for that is still open. They just don't have registration for with all the extra bonus goodies, but you could still buy some other goodies. Like there's a lot of options on there. Go to their website. They're super awesome. That's going to be in Burbank, California, and they did mention on their show today that they are locking down the exact address of the location. But essentially, if you can get to Burbank, California, November 3rd and 4th, you're going to be close enough. It's all within, close driving distance of each other. Now, before I go into the closing, you guys have any, Matthew, you have any shout outs before we let you go, man?
Yeah. I want to plug. There's a X-wing blog that my buddy Dan that was coming up with me. Confessions of a Midwest Scrub. It's it's pretty fun. Just started it about 2 months ago, and I like it, and I got to guest write on it, and yeah, and just shout out to all my Arch Alliance guys here in St. Louis that just tremendous support for me, and just they're great guys.
Yeah, I'm sure that we're super excited when you won, man.
Oh yeah. As soon as I got back upstairs, my phone just blew up with all the messages.
Yeah, and you know that is the upside downside of the space we had. Essentially, the lower floor is like a bunker. There's zero cell phone reception, which personally I'm okay with because I sometimes get annoyed by my phone and I want to focus on what I'm doing. So I was okay with it. There was a lot of people
Yeah.
laughing, like FFG, my app, it doesn't work.
Yeah.
So you know, make sure you have that. Be prepared for your app not to work. Have like the PDFs of your list like saved on your phone and things like that, so you can reference that. I suggest that. Will, any closing thoughts?
I just want to give another big shout out to all the volunteers, yourself
Oh yeah.
included, Dion, that just came to help out and made sure that the event ran super smooth. They don't get as much recognition because they're just kind of in the background doing things, but Michael, our Marshall, Ron doing the million things they did that day, Andrea doing all the scores and everything, and that's just for X-Wing. All the volunteers taking registration, the Boy Scouts, bartenders, everybody was helping out, and it made it just a phenomenal event.
Yeah, it had that really great, just
Totally.
like community feel, right? It had good feels. It was awesome, and yeah, it's it's great. It was the first thing like that I've ever been a part of, and I'm looking forward to planning and doing it again and getting more people involved because we want to make it bigger. And in order to make it bigger, we're going to need more help. We'll talk more about that later. So of course, you can always watch our Twitch events and all the things we stream, just like this podcast, on twitch.tv/Gold Squadron Podcast. Our next broadcast is tomorrow from League Night. Remember, no stats, no commentary there, but you got a table mic, and we'll put some new squads on the table. You can watch all of our recordings on YouTube. You got everything from like the beginning of First Edition to now, and I'm really curious to see who actually will go back and watch First Edition games. Like what information you can garner for that. Maybe we'll talk about that in the future. But I'll just be curious just to look at like stats and see when people actually click on those games. And lastly, but most importantly, if you enjoy all the content we bring and you want to help us continue expanding that content and get swag while doing it, go to patreon.com/Gold Squadron. We are 9 people away from getting on a plane and streaming something in another country like Australia or Poland or the UK or Ireland or Kuwait or China or Antarctica. I don't know. We'll go somewhere. We'll see.
They're doing commercial flights to Mars.
Streaming from Mars. I don't know if they have Wi-Fi on there. I'm gonna have to put the Wi-Fi on my phone. I don't know. I don't want to get that bill. And I need to take the time to thank the awesome people who became patrons over the weekend. This list of people there, I tell you guys, I'm super appreciative of you. And next week, I'm actually going to record that video I talked about last time where I'm going to say thank you to every single one of you guys who are patrons. Like, I'm going to make that a video. I'm going to upload it to YouTube. It's going to be great. I'm going to need several bottles of water to get through that list because there's almost 400 of you. You guys are amazing. So first, thank you to Alex Merrill for increasing his pledge this week during our stream. Thank you so much. Thank you to Daniel Alexander Roca. Thank you to Charlie Wallace. Thank you to Raymond Fox, Michael Collins, Zach Ray, Daniel Driscoll. Thank you to Jim Roberts, Lawrence Turnbull. Thank you to Matthew Leggett. Thank you to Dominic Dakota Zimmer and John McCullough. Thank you to Stephen Downs and Josh Carson. Thank you to Ethan Judd, Nicholas Mock. Thank you to Philip Karash and Mark Dieter and Jeffrey Welsh. You guys are all amazing. Thank you to all my other patrons. You guys are what make Gold Squadron possible, guys. I cannot travel to all these places on my own dime. I'm a teacher. I can't do it. But I love doing it, and thank you guys for making it possible. And so for Matthew and Will, my name's Dio Morales. We're here for you guys. Thank you so much for watching. Gold Squadron, out.